be giving you a little funny, a little crazy, and a whole lot of reality.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, guys.
Hey, and if you're new to the podcast, be sure to stick around. You're going to laugh, possibly. If not, you're going to learn a thing or two, I'm sure.
Definitely learn some things.
Yeah. Okay, so this past weekend, we spent a lot of time working on our projects.
Mm-hmm.
And also went over to my mom's. It was Mother's Day, so
Yeah.
happy belated Mother's Day to those of you out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also later in the podcast, we're going to be talking about our latest video.
Right.
And the
Some
website.
upcoming projects we have.
Yeah, and the website and stuff. So be sure to stick around for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So this week's episode is something a little bit more serious than normal.
Right. I think that it is a very important topic that we should touch on because unfortunately there are a lot of people out there that have faced this type of situation or that are in this type of situation right now.
Right.
And unfortunately, when people hear about domestic violence, the first thought that comes to their mind is a woman as a victim.
Right.
Which, rightfully so, unfortunately, women still make up about 75% of victims. But there are a lot of men out there that are also victims of domestic violence. And I think that the number is actually skewed because I think that a lot of men go unreported.
I think so too, hon.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of guys like myself who, may be going through or have gone through something, and then just are like, no, a woman's hitting me. I mean, it's just, it's just a woman. I don't want to look or sound like I'm,
a wimp.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing that I've heard, unfortunately, from friends of mine. And I used to work in that world, that society as well, in a counseling center. And a lot of the situations that I would hear was that the couple was fighting a lot and the woman would strike him or shove him or try and keep him from leaving the house. And the man didn't think that was considered domestic violence.
Yeah.
He didn't realize that he was being abused. And you hit the nail on the head where I think a lot of men don't take it serious, or it's not that they don't take it serious, but they don't feel they're being abused because the woman's strikes don't hurt him.
Don't hurt. Yeah.
They're not leaving marks per se. Some do, but if it doesn't hurt him or it doesn't, like you said, he doesn't want to appear weak in front of his friends, giving him a hard time. And so because of those reasons, a lot of it goes unreported.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, in your previous situation, what was the reason that you never said anything, or what was the reason why you, I guess, allowed it to continue or really didn't put a stop to it? What was your frame of thought?
I think for me, I mean, it did hurt when it happened, right? I'm not going to lie to you, it did. But I think in my mind, it was like, okay, at least the first time it happened, I was like, it won't happen again, right? And that was a big, like, not only a red flag, like it was a big thing to me looking back on it, that I should have done something at least, right? Either space myself a little bit more, gave a little bit more room in the relationship, wait for it to develop more.
Right.
But that's definitely not what I did. And it continued, right? It happened multiple times. But I never did say anything to anyone about it. I guess because it wasn't because I would seem like a wimp. It just came down to it wouldn't have hurt. It didn't hurt nearly as much as it would have if somebody bigger would have done it to me.
Right.
Right.
But so you rationalize that, and I think that the thought process that it's not going to happen again is it goes from men or for women, and that's a common theme. Did you ever speak to your partner about it, or did they apologize, or did you just like pretend it never happened?
Just kind of pretended it never happened. You know, I just tried to rationalize, I think, with myself that it wasn't a big deal, that that it just wasn't significant enough, right, to change anything. Like, I was just trying to make excuses for the bad decisions on their part, you know. I would never put my hand on anyone else, aside from defending someone that I love, right? And I would never put my hand on anyone that I love like that. So, but I just kept trying to tell myself, like, no, it's
not a big deal.
It's not really a big deal, even though I knew it was a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's going to stop.
Right.
You know, everything's going to come around. It was just so many red flags that, looking back on it all now, I don't like to look back on it.
Right. And I appreciate you sharing your story and your thought process, because I think that it is something that a lot of people, men and women, deal with in relationships, and a lot of us in the heat of the moment or in our emotions don't really pay attention to those red flags. And like you said, we rationalize and we say that it's going to get better, or they didn't mean it. You know, we were arguing, or they apologized, or it wasn't a big deal. And it is a big deal. Obviously, looking back, you realize that it was a big deal, but in the moment, you try to explain it away. And I'm glad that you're not in that situation anymore.
Yeah. Me too, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the gist of the whole thing is that no matter what situation you're in, right? If you know that what's happening is wrong, you have to do something about it.
Right. Because it's not going to change.
It's not going to change.
Unfortunately,
I'm telling you right now, it's not going to.
And unfortunately, most of those situations get worse.
Yeah.
You know,
if they feel like they can get away with it, it's not a big deal, okay. Well, not only will it continue, like you said, it'll get worse.
Right.
You know, domestic violence is not something that you should look at lightly at all.
Right.
You know, from either sex. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something that you have to look at like square in the face and say, I'm just not going to put up with it anymore.
And your safety, is paramount to anything else. And, you know, the numbers, the statistics are staggering. You know, every 9 seconds, someone is getting beat. 9 seconds. Yeah. So within the amount of time that this podcast has been happening, there have been so many people that have become victims of domestic violence. It is frightening, and it's very sad to think of, and very sobering to look at it from that perspective.
All right, guys. So on a brighter note, I'm sure that you noticed that my total voice changed right there, but I wanted to talk about, much brighter, you know, now that Reyna and I got that new computer, we're able to put out a lot more content now. So the last video that we posted up was that little Civil War Elwood. Elwood Manor.
The living history.
Living history of Elwood Manor. That was really cool, not only to shoot, but to put together.
To meet all those people.
Yeah, they were very cool, very chill. Learned a lot. I mean, there's so much knowledge. It's crazy. You know, if any of y'all, you know, live out here on the East Coast or whatever, and there's so much friggin' history out here. And before I met Reyna, I was like, whatever, because I've lived out here forever. But since meeting Reyna, I mean, it's just learned so much, you know.
Yeah, we look to adventure.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out. That's on our YouTube. And where can they find our YouTube link, honey?
Well, they can find everything on our webpage, rr.com. You'll find all of our social media links, our YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, as well as our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, and this weekend, we're definitely going to be hitting up some adventuring this weekend.
I know, some serious adventuring.
Serious adventuring. So be sure to be on the lookout for those videos as well. All right, so that's this week's episode, guys. As always, thank you so much for your support.
Yes.
And all the listens and whatnot. And until next Thursday, guys.
See you later, guys.
See ya.